In this video, I'm going to be going through 5 tech side project ideas you can start right now without writing any lines of code. If you're new to this channel, I'm a Solutions Architect graduate based in Australia working in AWS, and in this video, I'm going to be going through these 5 side projects. I'll be talking about how to get started, how hard it is to get started, and also give you a personal rating out of 5 because these were side projects that I've done to varying degrees during my time in university. So these side projects will also come in handy if you're a student applying to tech companies for non-technical roles because employers look for people who have a strong interest in tech, and side projects are a great way to demonstrate that. This is a video I wish I had during my first year of university, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, so idea number 1 is starting a podcast. And this is a very powerful one because you might be asking me and you might be wondering, well, Lucy, don't I need to be an expert in something related to tech to start a tech podcast? But in reality, most people who start a podcast don't have much experience in what they want to talk about because they're initially interested in the topic and they want to learn more about it. But what they do is, instead of talking about the topic themselves at the start, they bring on subject matter experts onto their show. And the good thing about this is, for example, if you start a podcast related to getting people into product management, so you interview people who are senior product managers, you bring them onto the show, become an active listener and ask them about their experiences. What's really helpful is that you're not only gaining these experiences and learning about them, but you're also sharing it to other students who are interested in the same thing. So starting a podcast isn't as intimidating as it might seem. So you start off by defining your niche and then you gather equipment, whether you want to use your iPhone microphone or investing in an external microphone. And then you find guests for your podcast. So the best way to do this is to reach out to people on LinkedIn by sending a personalized message. And afterwards, blocking out 1 or 2 hours to record the podcast with the guest, either in person or over Zoom, editing the podcast using an audio editor, and finally uploading it onto YouTube, Spotify, or Anchor.fm, which helps you distribute it across multiple channels. Some potential future directions include adding video to your podcast, monetizing it, and seeking out brand sponsorships. Now, side project idea number 2 is starting a tech YouTube channel, which is what you're watching right now. So I started this channel towards the end of last year when I was still an intern at AWS, and it's been pretty fun so far. It's definitely had its fair share of challenges. So for my first video, it took me over 10 hours to make, and a lot of the time I feel like giving up and just not making videos anymore. But it's been super worthwhile and I feel like it's more like a long-term investment. But one thing I regret doing is not starting this earlier. So last year I already received my grad offer and I already knew that I was going to be at AWS this year, and there was just a lot of certainty and I felt like I was ready to start a channel. But in reality, I think what you should do is start when you're not ready, when you don't feel prepared, when you don't have the qualifications and you're not an intern at a tech company and you want to document your experience getting there. So document your journey, share experience with others because there's so many other people going through the same experience and they will resonate a lot with your content, and it's something you can bring up during interviews when you talk about your experiences creating tech videos for students. Another branch of YouTube you can dive into is making tutorials. So anything you've learned in your university classes, anything that stands out, you can teach that through short videos and publish it onto YouTube. So very similar to starting a podcast, you begin by defining your niche and gathering equipment and then brainstorming your video ideas. After that, you record and edit your videos and upload it onto YouTube. Some potential future directions include monetizing it. In that case, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time. You can also try to get brand sponsorships and experiment by hosting live streams. Tech side project idea number 3 is forming a tech community. Now this is one of my most favorite ones because it's the one that has really defined my university experiences. I think it's one thing to join a community that already exists, but it's a whole new thing to create something from the ground up, and building that, bring together like-minded people to share resources, attend events, and having that community where you're all working towards a similar goal is just so rewarding. During my time in university, I started a student society with a couple of friends. It's called the UNSW Digital Society. And during a 1-year period, we held over 45 events. And most importantly, we established something that can sustain itself indefinitely. So even though my friends and I, so the co-founders, were not part of the society anymore, we were able to hand it over to other students who are part of the organizing committee, and so they can continue on and keep making impact on the student community. So starting a tech club involves a bit of planning because you're not only responsible for yourself and your own content, but you're also responsible for others. And that involves having a very clear vision of the club. After all the logistics and planning, the next step would be to gather a group of people and create a committee. After that, you'll be setting up a community online, whether that be on Facebook or Meetup or an Instagram page, and then launching your first event. You can tailor the rest of your events based on the feedback you receive, and make sure you promote your events through word of mouth and different channels. Potential future directions include expanding out to different audiences, creating a mentoring program, and even creating custom merchandise. So side project idea number 4 is case competitions or hackathons. And I think I'm cheating a little bit with this one because it doesn't really count as a side project per se. It's more like you bring a group of people together and you participate in something that helps you create a side project. When you have 24 hours to come up with a solution with a team, really flesh it out, come up with prototypes, you go through this whole design thinking process and at times even the implementation as well. And I think that it's a really good idea for you to participate in a lot of different hackathons, because not only do you get to develop your communication skills and teamwork skills, but there's also a possibility that the idea that you come up with during the hackathon is something that you want to work on in the future as well. So to join hackathons is actually very easy because these days many of the hackathons are online and you don't have to go to a physical location now to compete. So step 1 is to find the hackathon you want to participate in. Step 2 is to form the group. Make sure you have different skill sets in the team. And step 3 is to participate in the competition. If you feel like the hackathon idea has really strong potential, you could turn it into a side project or even one day host your own hackathon. The final side project idea is creating a personal website using a website builder. And you can disagree with me in the comments if you want, but my personal opinion on this is that personal websites are pretty overrated. I think in the past it was pretty common for a lot of people to have their own personal website and they can set it up, have like these cool themes and everything like that. But I think nowadays there's just so much reach in platforms such as LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. I think as a student, if you're interested in UX design, anything related to photography or anything art related, it's definitely helpful to have a personal website because that's where you create your own portfolio and you can showcase that. But I think if you apply to any other role, I don't really see the point in having a personal website if you can just use LinkedIn to display all your experiences, document your journey onto YouTube, share your photos onto Instagram instead of posting it onto your personal website. I see a lot more value in that because companies and students, they can reach you in a more effective way. So taking YouTube for example, YouTube is the world's second largest search engine, which means if you publish a video going like my journey interning at this company and you document that experience, it's much easier for someone to find it compared to if you just uploaded it onto your personal website. So that's just my personal opinion on this, but I think it's still very worthwhile to have a personal website. And that's why I decided to mention this idea at the very end. I would recommend focusing on the other 4, and if you have time, you can create a personal website and sort of link everything together with that. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of it. Please give this video a like and subscribe for more tech, career, and student advice. Bye for now.